Good morning, everybody. This is Stacey. I am here to have some crafty hour fun for the next hour. Good morning. It is a sunny morning here, which is incredibly lovely. I hope you guys all had a great long weekend wherever you are. I know some people had to work. We were fortunate enough not to have to, so it was a really nice weekend. Hello, everybody. I am going to get this iPad ready. One day I'll get really good at doing it simultaneously or having it ready. So this is the kit. I know it's kind of hard to keep up, right? Even we struggle with which one are we doing? Good morning or good afternoon. Hello, Glenda and Gay and Sharon and Leslie Ann. Wendy, cold in Saskatchewan. I believe it. I believe it. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to give a couple more minutes to have a few more eyeballs joining us. So I hope if you have the kit, this is what we're looking at. It is a wonderful kit full of lots of adorable pattern paper. There are so many options. When I was making the cards that I'm going to create with you, so much of this paper is so versatile. It is, here's some of my little bits and pieces, but it could be baby, it could be spring, it could be a birthday, it could be so many different things. And I'm a big polka dot fan, so I really loved the amount of these. Kind of feel like polka dots to me, and I love the gingham, so fresh and springy. It's really lovely. Okay, so what I'm going to have everyone do is just, if you have your kit, of course, have that open and ready to play along. I know in the supply list that I just mentioned having some card bases. Now, I kind of told you what I'm using. If you want your card bases to be a color to match the pattern paper, you go right ahead. That's the lovely part of this, is that you are at home in your crafty space and can just grab what you need. And if you want to add some bling or some glitter paper or what have you, please, of course, these are your cards and I want you to make them special for yourself. So whatever you need. We are going to be making 3 cards, and then I have some samples to show you. And I can share some photos in the group as well. And I always look forward to seeing what you all created with the kit as well. And if you don't have the kit, and if you're new and just playing along, feel free to create along. That's the whole point. Or if you just like to sit and have a coffee or a tea and then assemble a kit of your own and do it later, that works as well. Okay. Let's get started. We're going to get started with this card right here. And I cheated a little bit. I'm going to move this a little bit over to the side. And this is my card base. And for those of you, maybe you're one of those amazing crafters that have a ton of card bases. I do know several card makers that are so organized like that. This card is going to be 8.5 inches by 6 inches. Okay, so you're going to cut a piece of paper. I used just some white Nina, a heavier weight. Cardstock works great. 8.5 inches in length and that is 6 inches wide. And then we're going to have you score it right in the center. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Just going to make sure. Can everyone hear me okay? Give me some thumbs up or hearts if the volume's okay. Okay, so there is our card base. This is a nice, quick, and easy one. Thank you, Courtney. This is a quick and easy one. Now, on my sample, I have used the pink, this lovely pink dotty paper, and then this lovely gingham. It's the smaller gingham, this pink one, okay? And you have lots of paper. I don't know what Courtney's doing, but I think we have lots of paper, and I think we'll be okay. Okay, so let's cut our paper. For this card I'm going to be making with you, I'm using the purple. I thought I would be a little wild and crazy. And we are going to cut this purple piece to 4 inches wide. By 5 1/4 inches. And I am not a perfectionist. For this card, if your measurements are just a wee bit different, it doesn't matter. So don't stress about it. So that's 5 1/4 in length and 4 inches wide. Okay, we're going to set that aside. And then we've got our pink gingham. And once you're done cutting that dotty paper, we're going to cut this one to 4 inches by 3. Okay. I'm going to give you a second to just do that. And I'm going to find, is there a Sharpie over there?
Yeah, I just had one.
Oh, I have one. Okay, I'm going to write it. Okay. So this purple one, 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. Okay. Good morning, everybody. The blanks that came with are too small. Sorry, Valerie, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I just supplied my own cardstock for the bases, okay? So maybe that's what you're referring to. And the pink. And that pink, 4 inches, 4 inches by 3 inches, okay? And then we are going to grab a trimmer. Now this is what we have in the store. I just find it works the greatest. But grab whatever trimmer you have, and we are going to cut our paper. Now, just because we don't have a lot of these sort of embellishments, so I just want to say right off the bat, do what you would like to do here. I know you have, there is the sheet with all of the pop-out embellishments. This is the one that I used. I like the size of it and I like the colors for the card. But there are so many different options. Please feel free to pick one, or maybe you have a little stamp detail or a die cut. The nice thing to do about these crafty hours is make this card, maybe wait to embellish it. Maybe wait and see what Courtney has in store as well. But we're just going to create this foundation, and then you can do whatever you like to accessorize and make it your own. Okay, so we are going to cut this dot paper, and this is the purple one. On my sample I used the pink one. Courtney didn't use this piece, so if you like it, you can go ahead with abandoned. Okay, so we are going to cut this piece. When I'm doing this, I want that edge there. I want it to stagger down. It's gone a little haphazard, which pleases my eye. And there are many different ways to do this, but essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tippy top of the corner of my paper and I'm going to have it angled just like that, okay? So there should be about 3.5. I just always want to keep that tippy top of my paper there lined up. And then I'm just cutting that off. I'm not stressing about it. And that's going to go like that, okay? We just want enough to kind of peek up there. So there's about 3.25 inches there, if that kind of stresses you out, okay? I know just cutting willy-nilly stresses people out, and that's okay. So it's about 3.25 inches, because what I want it to do, I just want it to kind of sit there, okay? Okay. It's about, the bottom is about 2.75-ish, okay? So my tippy top there and my bottom is about at the 2.75 point. We want to have some paper there, okay? Oh, Courtney, you're a lifesaver this morning. It's been a bit of a morning. I need to have some more coffee, I think. Okay, and we are going to go ahead and I'm just going to attach that. And I'm just using my tape runner. I didn't pop it up. I didn't pop this piece up, because I'm popping some other stuff up, right? And I'm just going to center this right like that, okay? And you know what? Oh, Marcy, some mornings. And there's your little piece. When I was making all of these cards, I actually saved. I stopped being a scrap saver some years ago, but so many of the little shapes and stuff like that could work. Kind of fun to be given a template and have to play within it. Okay, and then we have our little gingham piece. And we are going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to show you here. So this one is about 2 3/4 high. So when we're cutting 2 3/4, and this one is 1 inch. So this one is going to go okay. So we are going to do yes. We are going to flip that over. And I'm going to do, so I'm going to have my tippy top there. And it's going to go, I'm going to cut that a bit more. So that bottom to about 1 inch. Okay. And that's going to go like that. So we're flipping it over. Sorry. I think my camera is a little bit higher than it should be, than it normally is. So tippy top right to my blade, and then there's 1 inch right there. And because this doesn't really mean anything, we just want to have that the 2 pieces going 2 different ways kind of idea. And then this tippy point to the 1 inch, and just make sure you flip over that paper. And I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. Okay. And that's going to go like that. Was everyone good with that? So we're flipping it over. This is, our paper is lengthwise. And then we've got 1 tippy, the top, and this bottom one goes right to 1 inch. And again, feel free to eyeball. This is not, it's okay. And that's just gonna go like that. Okay. And I'm gonna grab my foam tape for this one. And I'm going to pop this up. If you wanted to make this sentiment a little bit smaller, when I first was playing with this card, I thought, how fun would it be to have some of the other die cuts? How fun would it be to have them kind of poking up? Or if you had some flower die cuts or some stamps that you want to cut out. I'm a fussy cutter lover. I know not everybody is. So I'm just going to place my foam tape and I'm just doing a quick job here. I know it's no fun. No fun watching people peel adhesive and stuff like that. Okay, so if you are looking at my sample and being incredibly confused, in my sample I used the pink. I thought I would go wild and use the purple. Okay. And this is just a really quick and easy card. I found, just because of the way all of the patterns kind of work together, and it just lends itself to doing some quick and easy ones. We don't always have to reinvent the wheel, right? So that's going to go there. It's going to cover up that base. And then this is where I want you to play around. Absolutely. So that's the die cut that I used. I don't know what I've done with the die cut sheet, but it's that sheet in the kit, and it has all of these lovely die cuts. And I popped up that die cut, and then I added some gems. Okay, just some pink fresh bling there. Ooh. I have a secret to share.
On the website.
Okay. A small, maybe, 2 cream. Deanna's offering me coffee. Oh dear. Okay. So, Tracy, the pink gingham, I think I wrote that. So it's 4 inches by 3. Okay. And Courtney's been kind enough to put the measurement. Yes, Valerie, pockets. So if you wanted to create something fun, you would totally just put the foam tape right around there and stick some pockets in. Or if I was thinking for spring, if you wanted to give a gift, like a little seed packet, and then have a little something up there, I thought that would be really sweet. Or a little sachet of tea, maybe, something like that. No, I'm going to tell you the secrets. So the Crafty Hour 13, the long-awaited Vintage Man one, will be on sale Wednesday on the website at 9 a.m. So that's tomorrow, folks. I know I've had some people email me and ask me, and honestly, I didn't know. I knew it was coming up. Usually with the follow-up Crafty Hour, it's usually the next day. We'll put it on our website, and we've started putting it on the website because it's more feasible for everybody. I know some people are at work. You can't tune in at 2 and then it sells out. So next Crafty Hour 13 that Deanna and Courtney are doing. I don't know the price at the moment, but we'll be on the website tomorrow at 9. Okay. Okay, folks. So that is that card. That is that one. And then we are going to work on our next card. I'm just going to move this up a little bit. I know it's hard when you have to work and get all this fun stuff in, but let's be honest, you could sneak away for a moment when it's on the website. Sometimes that really helps. Okay, so we're gonna put that one to the side. Can't believe it's number 13 already. Isn't that wild? Okay, folks. And this is going to be our next one. See, no price yet. That's Deanna and Courtney's homework for tonight. Okay, so let's dive into this next one. This was one that I saw in the magazine, actually. So I really didn't design it. But I thought it was a really pretty one. So essentially what we're going to be doing is I'm going to, just because I wonder if, I know I'm a visual person, so I'm going to write it down. I'm going to find my Sharpie. I'm so sorry. And I'm going to write the card base down. Okay. Okay, so this one is going to be 10 inches in length, 6 inches wide. So the score point is at the 10-inch mark. Now, just because, so that's our card base. And again, I'm just using white. I'm just using white Neenah Hammermill, whatever you usually use for your card base. Now, in this kit, we were given some die cuts. And as I was getting everything ready, I was attacked by a stink bug. And it really threw me for a loop. So we had to pause for a moment, and as I was getting everything organized in this space, there was a stink bug. I don't know why the stink bugs are still terrorizing us, but yeah, it was, Deanna came to my rescue. So what we're going to do, and there's a couple things, because I've been playing with this die for several days now. So for the card, ignore this. Don't think about it so much. This is going to be, yeah, it's a 10-inch and we're scoring it at 5. So what we want to do, and this is a magnetic platform, it's the iCrafter. It's a godsend. I actually don't have it at home. I have their other thing and platform, shim, and I have to get this. I have sold it to myself. So what I've done here, and I've just shown you because I am a visual learner, and so I wanted to just show you, is what we're doing here. Now, when you have your die cut, there are 2 pieces. And something to really think about, because it might happen, or maybe you're more aware than I was at times. But when I was crafting, and it's 2 pieces, so we have to think of how we're going to cut the paper. Okay? So these little guys do the cutting for us. This is the one that has the little dots in it, little notches cut out. This one here that I've taped down is the other one. So you only have 3 die cuts. There's this beautiful large one, and then that edged one. So it cuts, and then it just leaves a little notchy part. So I'm using that one. I'm not using this one, obviously. But one thing to think about, especially, is where are you cutting? Because if we just did this pretty one, and we wouldn't be getting rid of this, which is what we want. So here we have, and it's okay, we want to see the innards of the card, okay? So we've got our card here, 10 inches. And I've just went kind of right up to the edge there. There's just a little fraction of paper there. It's like not even 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I'm gonna get you to do that. I taped it down because I don't know what I did to this poor die, but it's not laying flat for me, so I had to kind of force it. So do whatever you have to do. If you don't have a magnetic platform, I would encourage you to use some of I just use the Spellbinders tape, or maybe you have some washi tape or whatever you typically use to hold down your dies. And we are going to do that. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and I had some fun messing up with this as well, because I get all excited. Let me find my little piece. One thing also when you're designing with these is that, see here how now we have to cut this paper as well. So you have to make sure, because what I did a couple times, and it was so frustrating. Ooh, I love it, I love it. And then I went and cut my pattern paper, and I did it the wrong way, so it didn't butt up to it, okay? But that's another story, so we'll move on. But I want you guys to do your die cutting. I'm reading some terrible comments about those stink bugs. They are horrible. I will take a spider or anything like that. If it's weird and it flies, I can't bear it. I just, Deanna heard me scream. So I kind of pre-did this because, I don't know, I'm having a weird morning. Maybe it's a full moon. But the little bit that gets cut off is cute too. Okay. So those are the two dies. And then it's just a matter of snipping if you need to snip anything. Now another way to do it, and I actually did, of course, a new moon. Another way to do this, it was kind of a last minute decision to do this card, and I had already cut this. So instead of doing this as a full piece, you can also by all means just cut, you know, do about a 6 by, I don't know, 3 or 4, and then just attach that to your card. Snip one of your card fronts in half and attach that. And then we could certainly go in there and hide that with some pretty paper. So my sample, I just wanted to show you that that was what I did with that one. So a couple different ways to do it. And then we're just going to pokey poke. Pokey poke. I resisted the urge to do a lot of inking or anything on this card, which is kind of odd for me because I love my inks. I just found it so pretty leaving it white. It just, I think I'm missing my little, it just felt really pretty, just leaving it white. So we're gonna poke that through. How's everybody doing? I don't know about your die cut machine. Every die cut machine is so different. But with this intricate die, I feel like I needed a little bit more of an extra shim. And that's the nice part about being at home, and every machine is so different. They're all slightly, I find they're all slightly calibrated. Yeah, it's a really intricate die. So if you're struggling with it, try adding just an extra shim, which I think my shim might have fallen out, but you get the gist. And if you need to cut it again, it's only paper, right? But you can certainly just add that little extra shim in there. This would be also really pretty if you put something sparkly behind it. So maybe some glitter paper, some foil, a really pretty inky background. We're gonna pop and pop and pop. Some of my pieces might, not be coming out, but that's okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay. How's everybody doing? Are we still poking? Are people still poking? And if one was organized, make a few die cuts. And it's nice to have the option, you know, if you're having to make a card on the fly or you're stuck for inspiration for something. I always like to do, you know, yes, definitely some wax paper helps. That is an old trick. It's nice. I mean, when we first started selling Big Shots, I don't recall there being a lot of talk about shims and all of that. There was always what you got on the platform, but I don't think there was the awareness that certain things require a little extra finesse, right? Okay, I'm gonna clean up my little mess here. And then we're gonna grab another pattern. Okay, so this is the card that we're working on. Now, if you want, go ahead and grab this pattern. I was playing so much that I used up a lot of my of that paper. So I'm going to go in a different direction with my class sample. So our card should look something like that. Okay. Okay. So this is our next little project here. And so find either this one, such a pretty one, or honestly, whatever piece you like. Whatever piece you like. Okay. So we're going to grab that. And these are the measurements for this piece here. And we're going to have to whip out our die cutting machine again. So 4 1/4 by 6. Okay. So 4 1/4 wide by 6 inches tall. And this is going to be this one. And I made it a little longer than you have to, just because when we're die cutting, just in case there's an oopsie, and then you have to cut a whole nother piece of paper. I like to give myself a little oopsie wiggle room, right? Good morning to everybody that's just joining us. Thank you for tuning in. This will, of course, be saved, and you can watch it at any time. So we have our card. It looks like that. And now we're going to find a piece of pattern paper to do that, okay? Like I said, I used up all my paper. But in my sample here, this is a really pretty one. And full disclosure for myself, if it pleases my eye, I'm okay with it. If you have issues with stripes being cut into, and make adjustments, choose whichever paper makes you happy to look at. I'm just going to, for today's demo, essentially here, I just went with this one, but I really love this pattern here. It's a pretty one. It's a pretty one. Okay, so we're going to take our piece and we are going to cut again. So you can see here, I'm just taking this die, and this has the cutting edge. Always important when creating with these dies, take a look at that cutting edge, because if you want to cut something into a shape, we need a cutting edge. All the pretty, frilly, dainty things in the world aren't going to cut. So we want to, again, and I mean, I would probably go this way, but just for visual. So we're going to take that piece and we're going to cut. So what I did was I just put my die cut, and this is my wonky die cut that I don't know what I did to it. And we're going to take it and cut the edge, okay? And we're cutting that lengthways. We're not cutting it this way. I just wanted to show you visually. So the idea being that it's going to nestle right into that curve. So if we used another one and it was going in the opposite direction, they don't work together. They don't work together. Okay? So this one I've already cut out, but just to go through again, we're using this one that has the cutting edge. And you can just place it right on the edge of your paper and cut away, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and see, I'm going to cut just a little bit of a snip off of my paper because I didn't need my oopsie. But oh man, there was some swear words over the last couple days. I would need to die cut, and I would cut it in the wrong direction, or even worse. Do you ever do this? And especially with the magnetic things, I put it on top of my paper with the cutting on top of, like, it I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but I always like to give myself a little bit of an oopsie allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and just attach this. And essentially we just want this to cut to cover the front of this card. Yes, working too fast. Sometimes the brain, you know, when you're playing and, oh, I can do this and I'm going to do that. And we get kind of ahead of ourselves. So I'm going to attach that. And this is going back to my sample. Okay. Okay. How's everybody doing? I don't want to go too fast. Just gonna write some measurements. I'm using more of this dotty. Hello, everybody that's just joining us. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to take our dotty paper, or whatever you choose, you're the artist here. And the strip is going to be 1 inch wide by 6 inches. So we just want a little something extra. Can't get it to cut. And are you adding a little bit of a shim? Maybe like a piece of scrap cardstock? And make sure that you're working on the top of your platform as well, because these are thinlits essentially. So we don't need to be flipping into our book or anything like that, okay? And if you have to, yeah, I'm interested. I don't know. That's interesting. I'm not sure. Maybe have a feel of the blade and see if it's yeah, I'm not sure. If you're shimming and you're working on top of your platform, it should work. And especially if we're just cutting an edge. So that's interesting. Okay, so we will, for the big shot, so for the shim, just because I'm using this, I was working a little bit differently. But if I was just using just what comes with my big shot, you'd want to work on the very top. So these act as your shims essentially. Now, having said that, sometimes I still have to add, so I'll add, it all depends on the die really. So I'll add an extra piece of cardstock, or maybe you have the metal shim. Just never force anything through your machine. And I mean, there's all of those tricks where cutting through aluminum foil sometimes helps, wax paper. But with something like a straight edge like that, a Cuttlebug, it has been so many years since I've used that. The best thing to do, and I used to do this for customers when we sold them, is to Google. So Google Cuttlebug sandwich, and there is an amazing amount of information out there, and it will list everything. Okay, Joanne? So definitely after this, I urge you to do that and just have it as a reference tool, okay? Okay, so we'll move on as best we can here. We have cut our pattern. We've got our card base, and then we're going to move on to cutting this little extra piece of paper. And I did it that way. In the magazine, it kind of shows the same thing. I believe they foam taped it. I just wanted some height, really. Just some height. And so we're going to cut a strip of this pink or any alternating pattern, and it's going to be 1 inch wide by 6 inches high, and that's going to go right on the front of your card. And then I'll write down the measurements for this little doodad there, okay? And like I said, there are all sorts of little pop-outs and things like that, so please feel free to utilize what you like. I put All Things Grow. And to match this, so it's 2 1/4 by 1 1/2, and it's just this little frame. 2 1/4. And honestly, I think what I did was I just put this on a piece of scrap and cut around it where I was helpful or where I was happy. Yes, my strip is 1 1/2. I'm so sorry. It is 1 1/2. I don't think the 1/2 inch would, if you've already stuck something down, I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm so sorry about that. If you've already stuck it down, I would just move this maybe farther in, okay? Good eyeballs, Jan West. I'm gonna give you a gold star. Yeah, that is 1 1/2. 1 1/2 by 6. And then this little All Things Grow, this is a little pop out. If you want to use another saying, maybe you want to use the lovely stamps. I was really impressed by how I was happy with how they stamped. I'll show you some samples, but there's the happy birthday, the sending love, the best wishes. I was quite happy with how those stamped. Okay. So we have constructed our card. We've got this pretty frilly little edge. And then we are doing our contrasting pattern. I use the dotty pink one, 1 1/2 by 6. Okay. And then we've got this little sentiment here. I just trimmed off any little clingy bits and I matted it. It turns out it's approximately 2 1/4 by 1 1/2. So 2 1/4 by 1 1/2. And honestly, I think I just foam taped it on a scrap and cut it. Okay. And you could do so many other things here. I find it quite simple and lovely. So I didn't really want to add anything. I mean, if you wanted to go wild, you could definitely, might look cute with a little bit of ribbon tied around. It's a pretty one. And then maybe even going in on some of the flowers with a Nouveau glitter pen or something like that. I thought it was pretty. So this is a sample from the inside of the magazine. And then on the inside, so mine is, I use the yellow. I love this yellow. It's so vibrant. It's just a little shy of 4 3/4. What I would urge you to do is measure your card yourself. I find when doing these sorts of cards, just cut that yellow to fit on the inside of your card, okay? Because if you die cut it a little bit differently, or if your measurement's a little bit different, grab that ruler and see. So we just want to cover the inside. I did that because I liked seeing that peekaboo. Okay. So that is that card. And I'm just going to set that off to the side. I only have 5 minutes left, but I'm going to talk through this other card here. And I do have some samples to share as well. And this might be a talk through, because if people are struggling with their die cuts and that sort of thing, I will post the measurements of this next card. I'll post it in the event, on the event page, because I don't want to take the time if people are struggling with their die cuts and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to walk you through this. I'm not going to give you measurements and that sort of thing. What I will do for homework tonight is I will take photos of all of my samples and jot down any important measurements and that sort of thing. And I will post it in the event page, and I'll post it in the Crafty Hour Creations, okay? And if you don't know about Crafty Hour Creations, it's the private group. I urge you to join. Everyone's sharing such amazing projects and things like that. So my thought, voila, I wanted to show you, talk a bit about the stencil. And I'm really excited to see what Courtney's gonna get up to tonight. Courtney will be hopping on 5 p.m. Pacific. She's got some techniques. Courtney always does the most incredible techniques. But I wanted to kind of show you an idea I had for a card. This is the stencil. I'm a butterfly addict. I've often been told I maybe use too many butterflies, but I love them. They're beautiful. So I made this card and I put a couple strips of gingham. Just going to show you really quick. So it's a simple card. I cut a couple strips of the gingham. Now you could use, I love gingham. I find it so fresh and pretty. I wanted to have something kind of simple and delicate kind of to go with what I'm going to do with my stencil. So I cut this out again. And I just thought it could go kind of up at the top of the card. And then we're going to take whatever we do with our stencil and cover that up. You could also do it this way, whatever you like. I don't know. This stencil is a bit tricky. The design of it, I'm more of kind of a haphazard fan, but I liked what was happening here. Yeah, so that is that sort of thought process. Now, I had asked you to, I want to talk about a couple things. I had asked you to bring some clear paste or what have you. So I wanted to show you here. I did this last night so it would be dry. Leslie Ann, I'll quickly tell you the card base. I'm not going to walk through just because we're almost out of time. So it's a 10 by 6 1/4. 10 by 6 1/4, could easily just make it 10 by 6. So scoring in half at the 5-inch mark. But I will share all of the details of this card as well, okay? This is one thing I thought would be fun, is to use the stencil, especially if we were working on our card like this. I thought it would be fun to have those kind of going on up there, and then giving us an option to maybe do what I kind of was thinking about was even just a belly band of vellum, somewhere where we could stamp a greeting, you know, that sort of thing. But when you use that stencil paste, some sort of, essentially anything that's going to create that resist, it kind of gives you some fun options. So I'm just going to quickly show you. So this is us with our resist. Now I could have created that also with, I'm just going to grab a paper towel. I could have used my embossing powder and created that resist. I've seen resists with wax crayons, all sorts of things. So the fun part being that we can ink up a fun background and then kind of wipe that away, right? So that is always fun. It's super cool if you're working on a darker cardstock and maybe using some metallic pastes and that sort of thing. You could I could spend an hour talking about that. I also wanted to show you another option. I thought this was really pretty. So this is the Nuvo Glacier paste, and it's called Pixie Wings. But see how, isn't that so pretty? And then I just went in with some Nuvo drops to accessorize. If I had this, I would definitely go in with kind of a fine point Sharpie or do some fun little pencil or dots and creating movement and that sort of thing. But, so what I kind of visualized, and I'll just quickly show you, I assembled a few colors. So I did saltwater taffy, worn lipstick, and abandoned coral. And I just wanted to kind of have some sort of gradient there. So I taped my paper down. If you have pixie spray, which sadly we struggle getting in this country, or some sort of repositionable spray is wonderful. I didn't have that. And most of the time, I don't go to this amount of trouble, but I'm hedging my bets today. I thought my stink bug was a sign from the universe. So with this stencil, I found the little butterfly bums. Had to work a little bit in there, a little more than normal. So I'm just going in with my lightest color. And I'm gonna swap that out. So that's saltwater taffy. And you could pick any 3 colors. I thought pinks are pretty. And then I'm gonna go over, and I'm okay if I'm touching the edge of that lighter color. And I'm gonna work right up to the center. And then I'm gonna go in with my abandoned coral. And these colors just made me happy, so that's why I did it. This should make us happy. Okay. Yes, Gay, before I close, I will put the cards, and I'm gonna go over just a little bit. I have some samples to share as well. So I've inked with 3 of my colors, and I'm just gonna peel that off. I've tempted fate by going in twice. Hopefully it's okay. And then if I were at home and I had time and all my fun stuff, what I would do, this is pretty, but I want to zhuzh it up a little bit. So what I would do so there's and it's pretty juicy. Yes, dome better than flat. I urge you, if you have not tried the domed foam, to try it. It feels like a game changer to me. I resisted at first, as I sometimes do, but it just, yeah, it just is better. You have a little bit more control, it feels like, and you don't have those. I mean, the circular sponge is better than the square any day of the week, but you have even less of the chance of doing any lines. You know, sometimes when you start inking and you get those little lines, even the circle, sometimes it's a possibility. But with the domed, I love them. They're wonderful. So what I would do with this, and of course we want to clean this stencil, which I will do when we're done. I would go in with whatever you have. I would go in with, I want to add some glitter and some pretty. So one thing, there's so many beautiful embossing glitters and embossing powders. I would love to take my Versamark pen and maybe fill in some wings, create some patterns on the wings. I would love to take some glitter to my hearts, just really make it a little bit more of a pretty focal point. And then that's just going to go on the front of our card. Something like that. What I was also thinking, and I did have my little vellum belly band. Good gravy. What I kind of wondered about was doing a vellum kind of belly band here and just folding that around and having a greeting or something, because it needs something to kind of finish it. But it's just so pretty. Or you could easily just have this as a background and even or even just put something else over top. You know, if you had some sort of die cut or something, I don't know. I see it, I envision it very sparkly and delicate and pretty. And that's certainly what you get with this. This is the Glacier paste from Nuvo. Okay, so that is that. And I made a few extras. They're quite simple. This was one I did using the stamped image. I love this little birdhouse. It's so cute. And if you look in the magazines, there's some really cute ideas for tags and all of that. So with I love this pattern as well. This is such a pretty floral. So I put together this one, and as usual, as I tend to do, I just fussy cut it out. I always like to pop up double stamp and then cut out certain elements just to give the stamped image a little bit more dimension. Sorry, my camera's, I think, being a little wonky. So that's what I did with this one. Using my coloring pencils, you could use however you watercolor, pens, pencils, ink, whatever floats your boat. And I just used, this isn't from the kit, but who doesn't have a bajillion little quote strips and all of those little things? Yeah. So that is that one. And then this one, this is just a really quick and simple one using that lovely springy green. And this would also, I think, be really fun with some embossed work here and maybe foil with some wax. I just wanted to make it really simple. And then I used this die, which I absolutely love. It's the Spellbinders one. It's called Sealed Twine, because I've discovered in my little craft cave, I don't have a lot of ribbon anymore. It's so weird. I don't know where it all went, but I just wanted something really fine and pretty. So I die cut this die out of just some craft paper. And then I just wrapped it around, cut 2 of them, and done. And I love this little die cut. I would love to see some either glossy accents or some little glittery details there. And then I went with the With Love. So that's that one. And then this was just using up some scraps that I had. Really small card. Best wishes is stamped there. The die is called Sealed Twine. Sealed Twine. And it's from Spellbinders. It's lovely. It's from their wax seal collection, but who says we have to do what we're told with the dies, right? And this is just one of the little die cut elements, and I just popped it up using that one of the curvy dies to cut some kind of grass there. Okay, folks, thank you for being so patient with me, and thank you to Courtney for joining in and helping me with documenting measurements. And so these are the cards. I'm a little hesitant to show this one, but this is the work in progress. And like I said, I'm going to finish this one and I will share it, and I will share measurements and what have you later this evening in the Crafty Hour Creations, and I'll add photos to the event group. And just quickly before we go, if you missed out earlier, Crafty Hour 13, which is the hotly anticipated Vintage Man, that one is on sale tomorrow at 9 a.m. on our website. Deanna and Courtney haven't, they're going to do the pricing tonight, and get on it. So excited to see what they create. That is a wonderful little kit there. So that's going to be exciting. And I look forward to seeing what you all created. And I hope you have a lovely day. And again, thank you for joining us.